I can imagine a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that in order to the benefit of the strongman leader, and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime. There's a number of examples across, even in Sudan.
Hi guys, once again welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Larry, and in today's video I want us to talk about what's happening between the West and Burkina Faso. Now, just because the West didn't manage to assassinate, or rather take down, the current president of Burkina Faso, who is Captain Ibrahim Traoré, in the recent attack that was framed to be by the jihadists. Now, the West are now using a black man who is Michael Langley. Well, in this video that we are about to watch, Michael Langley is seen misleading people, telling the world that Burkina Faso President Captain Ibrahim Traoré is now using Burkinabe's gold in his defense. Now, my big question isn't that the country's resources that's supposed to be used to protect their president? So watch this video, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you're yet to subscribe. Like, comment and share that, so that this video can be recommended to a wider audience as much as possible. Let's create awareness between our black communities. That includes the Caribbean. So watch this video up to the end, and then we'll have a short discussion after the video.
When a U.S. general goes on record accusing an African leader of using gold to protect himself, you know something big is happening. In a statement to the U.S. Senate, General Michael Langley, commander of AFRICOM, claimed Burkina Faso's gold reserves are being used not for the people, but to secure the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. But here's the question we all should be asking. Isn't that gold Burkina Faso's in the first place? In today's video, we'll expose the agenda behind this statement, highlight the power shift happening across Africa, and explain why the world is watching Burkina Faso more closely than ever before. In Burkina Faso, gold is no longer just a mineral buried deep within the earth. It is becoming a tool, a catalyst, a symbol of transformation. Each coin invested in agriculture brings more harvests. Each ounce that funds a hospital saves more lives. Each nugget that strengthens security guards the hope of tomorrow. Burkina Faso is proving that even in a world of uncertainty, a country can rise when it chooses to invest in its people, its land, and its future. This is more than development. This is the story of a nation reclaiming its destiny, 1 gram of gold at a time. Traoré is not just a military leader. He's become a symbol of Pan-African resistance, youth-led leadership, and sovereign control over resources. At just 34 years old, he seized power in a move that shocked the world, but inspired millions across the continent. After years of failed leadership, foreign dependency, and endless instability in the Sahel region, Traoré's rise signaled a break from the old guard. Instead of begging for aid, he began talking about resource control, national pride, and security through self-determination. His government began prioritizing domestic gold processing, ending the export of raw minerals, and ensuring value remained in-country. These weren't just policy changes. They were revolutionary statements in a region long controlled by foreign mining giants and foreign-backed governments. Laying the first stone is first and foremost a question of sovereignty. In the environment of gold production in Burkina, for a long time it was said that we were not a gold-producing country. But for some time, gold has become the leading export product. But we do not have control over gold, whether it is research, production, as you have seen the refinery. We asked ourselves lots of questions, and today we decided to put a whole chain together. You follow with fishing that we want to exploit the gold ourselves. And today we are laying the first stone of the refinery. It will no longer be a question of us taking our gold outside to be refined. We refine it on site. We know what the real content of the raw gold that comes out is. That is very important. And also it is necessary that through SONASP, we are in the process of inviting local gold miners to bring the gold back inside, because SONASP is the structure which will buy back the gold, and that we can refine here. A lot of gold leaves Burkina fraudulently, and which also contributes to fueling terrorism. So we invite gold miners, whether collectors or others, to bring the gold back to the central portion, and at the same time also invite SONASP to increase the number of counters to be able to collect the gold. And in addition to this refinery, I hope that in the coming days, we have another bigger project that is underway, and that is waste treatment. A factory which was designed by Burkina Faso engineers, which is currently in the test phase, and we hope that in the following hours, they will tell us that the test is conclusive, and that therefore makes a complete chain to be able to valorize our gold. Burkina Faso may be landlocked, but it is rich in what the world wants, gold. The country is one of the top producers in Africa, with reserves worth billions. For decades, these riches flowed out of the country in raw form, enriching corporations in Canada, France, and beyond. The people remained poor. Infrastructure collapsed. Security became a nightmare. So when a leader says, "Enough. We will process our minerals here. We will use our gold to defend ourselves," it sends shockwaves through the corridors of foreign power. And let's be clear, Burkina Faso's move is more than economic policy. It's a direct challenge to the status quo of foreign exploitation dressed as development. General Langley's statement wasn't just an observation, it was a message. By framing Traoré's use of gold as self-serving, Langley implied corruption, without evidence, without proof. But here's what's hypocritical. AFRICOM exists precisely to project American military power on the African continent. It supports leaders who serve U.S. interests. So when a leader emerges who doesn't need them, who doesn't bow, he's labeled a threat. The statement also reflected an old colonial mindset, that Africa's resources must serve Western-approved purposes. When Africans decide how to use their own gold, it's suddenly a problem? That's not security concern. That's control panic. The framing of Traoré's defense efforts as protecting the elite ignores that his leadership was born out of popular demand. He didn't install himself with U.S. money. He rose through the army, supported by the youth. The global gold market is tightly controlled. Western economies hedge currency, insure banks, and back investments with it. So when Africa starts saying, "We'll refine and keep our gold here," you're not just disrupting trade, you're challenging the monetary order. This isn't just about Burkina Faso. It's about sovereignty over value. If African nations begin using gold to back currencies, fund security independently, or resist IMF dependency, the financial ripple effect will be global. That's what they fear. When Western governments lose control over how and where African gold flows, they lose a tool of leverage. This fear manifests as diplomatic pressure, economic threats, and yes, military rhetoric like Langley's. Resource nationalism isn't a dirty word, it's a right. Every country has the right to control what lies beneath its soil. But when African leaders attempt it, they're called dictators, nationalists, or threats. It's the oldest game in the book, and it's one of the main reasons leaders like Patrice Lumumba, Muammar Gaddafi, and Thomas Sankara were eliminated or overthrown. Traoré's crime is not tyranny, it's independence. He is defying a decades-long tradition where African wealth props up foreign economies. By rejecting that model, he invites both admiration from Pan-Africanists and opposition from international stakeholders. You can't talk about Captain Ibrahim Traoré without mentioning Thomas Sankara, the revolutionary leader who once renamed Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, meaning land of upright people. Sankara also pushed for local control of resources, rejected IMF loans, and cut the salaries of top officials, including his own. His vision was of a self-sufficient Africa, proud, independent, and united. But in 1987, that vision was cut short. Sankara was assassinated in a coup many believe had foreign fingerprints. Today, Traoré is walking a similar path, and the global reaction is chillingly familiar. When a young African leader dares to prioritize his people and control national wealth, the old powers start circling again. Western narratives about Africa haven't changed. The media constantly portrays independent African leaders as strongmen, dictators, or military juntas, while ignoring the will of the people behind them. Captain Traoré's rise wasn't some self-serving power grab. It came from a failing system, supported by the youth and the people who were tired of foreign-dominated leadership. But the moment African leaders reject foreign control, the media switches gears. They're corrupt. They're militarizing. They're authoritarian. It's propaganda. And it's not new. The same was said of Kwame Nkrumah, Gaddafi, and even Nelson Mandela at one point. What matters is not how the world sees them, but how Africa remembers and supports them. Burkina Faso is not alone. The Sahel region is undergoing a political transformation. Mali, Niger, and Guinea have also taken bold steps toward reclaiming national sovereignty, cutting ties with foreign forces and pushing for local control. ECOWAS, once seen as a tool for regional unity, is now criticized for acting under Western influence, often pressuring these sovereign nations to conform. But the people are speaking louder than any diplomatic threat. In rallies and social media across West Africa, you'll hear the same thing. We support our leaders. We don't want foreign troops. We want control over our land, our gold, our future. The spirit of Pan-African resistance is alive. And it's not just political. It's cultural, it's generational, and it's unstoppable. Captain Traoré's decision to process gold in-country and remove foreign control sends a dangerous message. Dangerous for those who have benefited from Africa's disunity for decades. If Burkina Faso succeeds in keeping wealth within its borders, investing in infrastructure, education, and local defense, it becomes a model that others will follow. A threat to the colonial economic template that says, Africa can have raw materials, but not value-added wealth. That's why AFRICOM is speaking up. That's why the media is shifting the narrative. Because they know, if this new African consciousness spreads, their influence in Africa will fade. For good. Burkina Faso's stand is not just for Burkina Faso. It's for every African country struggling with resource exploitation, foreign intervention, and systemic poverty. The message is clear. We don't need to beg. We need to believe. If one country can control its gold, another can control its oil. If one country can defend its leader from external threats, another can protect its sovereignty. This isn't about war. It's about wisdom. About reclaiming the narrative and deciding as a continent that enough is enough. The West can question Traoré's intentions. They can criticize the way Burkina Faso uses its gold. But what they cannot deny is this. Africa is waking up. We are done watching our leaders fall. We are done exporting our wealth and importing poverty. Captain Ibrahim Traoré may be young, but he carries the spirit of a continent tired of waiting. And if protecting him means using our own gold, so be it. To the dreamers of another 1987, keep dreaming. This time, Africa is watching. And we will not allow history to repeat itself. If this video moved you, empowered you, or challenged what you've been told, subscribe now. Share this with your brothers and sisters. The narrative is changing. Africa belongs to Africans, and we are just getting started.
Once again, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host, Larry, and I have to appreciate you all for sticking around with me up to this point of this video. Now, just a short discussion on the video that we've just watched. So, for one, recently we've seen that Burkina Faso President Captain Ibrahim Traoré was a major target by this Islamic group called the Jihadists. Now, they did not manage to complete their task as ordered by their masters. And in this video, or rather in this case, when we talk by their masters, it's majorly the French government and the United States government. Now, it went ahead and Captain Ibrahim Traoré did manage to capture some of those people who betrayed him. Now, it is sad to say that most of these people who were on this mission, most of those people who betrayed Captain Ibrahim Traoré are the people of Burkina Faso, and majorly others are from his rule. I mean, the police and all that. So investigations are ongoing and all that, but all we are supposed to be grateful is that Captain Ibrahim Traoré was not injured in any case. So back to this video. The French and the United States, they did not succeed in all their plans they've been having to take down Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Now they've decided to corrupt the Africa's people's mind. They've now decided to make Africans believe that Captain Ibrahim Traoré is now using the gold, I mean the Burkina Faso gold, to just protect himself. But you all agree with me that that's the country's resources. And Burkina Faso's president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, being one man that's loved, majorly loved in his country, not just in his country, all of Africa and also the Caribbean, you'll agree with me that the Burkina Faso people, in short, the Burkinabés, they don't have a problem when Burkina Faso President Captain Ibrahim Traoré uses this gold in protecting himself, because we've seen the major developments that Captain Ibrahim Traoré has done in Burkina Faso. He has set Burkina Faso free, and this is true to say that our colonial masters, they were not pleased by these actions of Ibrahim Traoré, and that's why they've had a lot of plans, a lot of assassination attempts to take down this great man. Another thing we should be aware of is that they are not just scared of what Captain Ibrahim Traoré is doing for his people. They are majorly scared for the idea that this man has in his head, because the amount of progress he has done in Burkina Faso in a shorter period of time, it's greater to that whereby some of our leaders have stayed in power for a long time and they have never managed, leave alone managing to do that. They don't have the guts to do that. And look at what Ibrahim Traoré has done. So whatever they are trying to do, they are trying to make sure that they eliminate Captain Ibrahim Traoré because of his idea. They have seen how much of an impact this idea has gone to a lot of people in Burkina Faso, and not just in Burkina Faso, also in all around Africa and the Caribbean. We've seen a lot of youths, a lot of people come to the streets in support of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. We've seen also demonstrations. People have taken to the streets that they want Ibrahim Traoré to be in charge. They want him to be in power. They don't want him to step down. They don't want any other president to take charge. And you tell me, how much progress has Ibrahim Traoré done in his country? We've seen him build schools. We've seen him build hospitals. We've seen him bring out tractors to help in agricultural sectors. And but the West, they are just giving a blind eye to all of this, but instead they are saying and trying and just misleading people that Ibrahim Traoré is using this gold to just protect himself and not for the better of the Burkina Faso people. But you trust me, that Ibrahim protecting himself is for the better of the Burkinabe people. They would all agree that the Burkina Faso people would give everything in support and protection of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. So this is just one of the West's tactics to corrupt the black people's mind and all Africans in believing that Burkina Faso is using the gold just to protect himself. And the lucky thing is that he is not using this gold to enrich himself. So what if he was using this gold to enrich himself? What will they even say? Because at this point, he is using it to protect himself, but he is doing major developments in his country. And we all know that the West doesn't want to see anything like that. The West, they've always been against the idea of an African leader serving his people the way they are supposed to be served. And that's why we've seen several major attempts, or rather assassination attempts, to take down the current president of Burkina Faso. Luckily enough, we've had Dr. Africana Chihombori Kwao standing by Captain Ibrahim Traoré, protecting him, defending him in all ways that she could. And now here we see Captain Ibrahim Traoré is majorly asking for the unity of black people, and that's the unity of Africa and the Caribbean. And also the Prime Minister of Barbados, who is Mia Amor Motley, in her recent speech, we've seen her encourage that the Caribbean should renew and strengthen their ties with Africa, because Africa and the Caribbean, we share a common enemy. And how I'd wish that we Africans and the Caribbeans would unite. We need to show support and love to the Burkina Faso president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. So guys, without much to say in this video, I'd love to urge you to please remember, if you're watching my videos for the first time, kindly hit the subscribe button, like, comment and share so that this video can be recommended to a wider audience as much as possible. Let's spread this good message to all over the black people around the world. And so I'd love to say thank you so much for sticking around with me up to this point and showing the support and for the support you've shown me up to this point. And my channel is still growing, and it's all because of you. So I'm your host Larry, and until we meet again in my next video, one love.